Hello enemies and book lovers, my name is Ash and welcome back to my channel. I'm here to roll my dice to determine what book I'm going to be reading for November, my first book at least. Actually, it's not my first book, I have to get up again. I'm gonna crawl. I'm definitely going to be reading Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I rolled this on my MBR video, so I actually already rolled this. So I already know that I'm going to be reading this for like my bigger book, but I have 8 other smaller books I will put up here that I'm going to be rolling for. So from obviously the top left to the right and then bottom left to the right, that is going to be 1 to 4 and then 5 to 8. So let's roll for what the first one's going to be. All right, let's see what the first one is going to be for November. That is going to be a 7. So I got a 7. Let's see what that one is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so the one I got is Fireheart by Emma Ham. This one I'm a little bit iffy about, only because like I said in my MBR that I have started this before. It has a lower rating and I didn't really push myself to get through it, so like hopefully I will like it. I'm a little bit nervous about this one. So this is about the main character who wants to kill the king. In order to get close to him though, she wants to become his bride because he's looking for one, and he's doing something called the bridal games where I'm assuming it's like a little test thing. He uses these games in order to win over his heart, I guess, or show that they're worthy of his love, which is kind of gross. But obviously in the way of the king to protect him is his guard, who is a dragon shifter. So yeah, that's the romance is going between the main character and the dragon shifter, not the king. It sounds like an interesting enough premise, but I'm a little bit nervous about it. So let me read it and then I'll come back to you when I'm done and talk about what I read and then also roll again. I'm hoping I'll get at least 2 books read in this video, if not 3. I have 15 days to do it. So here's hoping to get through it pretty quickly. So let's try and start Fireheart. Well, hello there. It's now November 6th and I finished Fireheart by, what is her name? By Emma Ham. Sorry, Emma Ham. I think her name's Emma Ham. I just call her Emma Ham, sorry. I have hot chocolate. I'm gonna put it down though because I can't really drink and talk at the same time. Okay, so I finished Fireheart and the consensus is it was okay, I guess. It was fine. So unfortunately, I gave Fireheart a 2.5 and I rounded it down to a 2. Now the reasons for it is there's actually a very heavy spoiler review on Goodreads. The very top most liked review on Goodreads has like all the information as to why it's not the strongest book. And personally, I stand by everything that person said. So if you want to know everything spoiler wise, why I didn't like it, that review has everything. But overall, the reason why I didn't love it is just like there was interesting ideas. There's like one thing that I'm invested in. Other than that one thing though, I'm not that interested in reading the rest of the series. I think maybe 4 or 5 books and I really want to know what happens in some regards, but other regards I'm just like, it wasn't done in a very strong way. And I did like the romance to an extent. It wasn't really like enemies to lovers. I think it's supposed to be enemies to lovers, but it felt kind of quick. Like I said, if you want to know like the spoiler reviews, the first review on the Goodreads page has like the spoilers of why it's not that great. Supposedly this was very hyped on Book Talk. Listen, Book Talk and I are not friends. I don't even have TikTok because I don't like it TikTok personally. And a lot of the time I don't love the books from Book Talk that are really hyped up. It's just more like a coincidence than anything else, but I might have gotten this off of my Instagram reels, which is like the same thing. Honestly, it's like the same thing. It wasn't what I expected. There's a lot of issues, okay? There was a lot of issues. So that is my first book of the month. Not a great start with the 2 stars, but hopefully my second one will be a bit better. So let's roll to see what the second book is going to be for November. All right, so let's roll for book 2. 8. We got 7, now we got an 8. So the next one I got is an 8, so I got a 7 and an 8. And for this one, it's going to be the Dragon Rider MMM Paranormal Romance one. This is by S. Rodman. And this one, I don't really know much about it. There's like a young man that goes to a place with dragon riders and he meets 2 handsome men and their dragons bond. And then that means that they end up bonding, all of them. So that's all I really know about it. Very vague synopsis. So there's not really a lot of information going into it, but I do know it's about a guy that goes to this dragon rider place and then his dragon bonds with the other guy's dragon and then they become a thing. It is a polyamorous relationship between 3 men, which is new for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to work. I'm hopeful, but also a bit nervous because I've heard nothing about this like at all. So let me go read it, tell you what it's about, and hopefully I enjoy it more than the first book at least. Fingers crossed. Well, hello everyone. It's been a little bit and I have finished Dragon Rider by S. Rodman. My final thoughts is that it was weird. Okay, it was strange to say the least. So let me explain as to why it was weird. I don't even know how to really explain this book because I don't really know what to say. I feel like I should filter myself, but I also don't really want to filter myself. It's very confusing to me. Essentially what happened is that the main character, first of all, the main character's name is Kirby. I couldn't stop thinking about Kirby from Nintendo because that's just the first thought that came to my mind. So it's very unfortunate for me. But we have Kirby. Kirby is a mage, so he goes into this job opening that needs a mage in order to fulfill something. He goes and realizes that it's like a ceremony for a dragon to choose their rider, and he doesn't even know that dragons exist. And so there's like 9 people, and he has to be the 10th person because you need a 10th person to do this. And so he does this thing, and the dragon chooses him, and so he becomes a dragon rider. And it's very sudden. This book is very short. I think it's, how long is this book? I have it right here. This book is 241 pages, so it's very short, and so much happens within the span of one book. It is crazy. So we have Kirby, the main character. We have Mordecai, who is like the long white-haired character who's like the more like serious one. And then there's Harlan, who like I really like. He's like the bulkier, like he's kind of like the playful one. I like him, but like I just had like mixed feelings about it. Mordecai and Harlan have a pre-established relationship already. They already are intermingled a little bit together, which I think is actually, it actually worked out because it would be way too quick to have them all just randomly want to be together, because this is a polyamorous relationship between the 3 of them. It would have been very sudden if they all just ended up together. But I think the really reason why this was really weird to me is because Kirby ends up joining the ranks of the Dragon Riders, and then come to find out that every month on the full moon, the dragons fight, and then whoever the winner is, how do I explain this on YouTube terms? So the dragons fight each other, and then whoever wins gets to go on top of the other dragon, and then they have fun. So it's like this thing that they just do every full moon. It's fun for them. They have a good time, maybe like too much of a good time. I'm trying to like hint because I don't really want to talk about dragons, you know, doing things together. It's a bit strange to me. You know, I've never really considered this, okay? I never really thought of this. I wanted to read dragon books. I didn't really want to read like dragons procreating. That's not really what I wanted. But I mean, it's not in grave detail, but still, because the dragon riders are linked into their psyche of their dragons, they do have conversations, and what they feel, they also feel. So the dragon riders feel what the dragons feel. So every single time this happens on the full moon, it also affects the dragon riders. What happens is the dragons get all rowdy and, you know, in the mood, and whoever the 2 dragons are that are fighting and then, you know, doing things together with the dragon riders also feel the same feelings. It's very So the first scene is like Mordecai's dragon and Kirby's dragon getting it on, and then because of that happening, Mordecai starts doing things with Kirby, and then like and then things ensue. And the reason why I found it hilarious and kind of funny and like weird is because there's parts in the book where like Kirby's own dragon is like, yeah, I chose you because you're a bottom and I am too. Never thought I would ever hear about a dragon, like a dragon bottoming. I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't mind it, you know, the whole like, when it comes to humans, I don't care. Like, you do you. I'm very sex positive, but I don't really want to hear a dragon telling his dragon rider that he's a bottom and that's why he chose him, because he's also one. I don't really know what to say. His dragon also calls himself and Kirby an SLUT, and that like, they're like proud of it. I'm like, you know what? I guess get it, I guess. All I know is that it was a wild time. I didn't expect the whole like them screwing because their dragons wanted to screw and stuff. It was weird. It was weird. I didn't expect it, okay? I didn't go into it knowing this, and it just like curveball. So yeah. Although at the end of the day, I gave it a 3 stars. I still liked it, so I guess I'm not really complaining too much. 3 stars is like, it's like a lower 3, okay? It's like a lower 3. I still liked it. I think the scenes with them together intimately were pretty realistic. They actually used things and prepared for things ahead of time, which I really enjoy in seeing in books. Realism is nice to see in books. I don't know if I want to continue, although the next book is following Harlan's point of view. There's 3 books, and all of them are going to be following different POVs, and Kirby's the first one, Harlan is the second one, and Mordecai is the third. And Harlan's my favorite. So I kind of, like, a part of me wants to maybe read the second book, and I think it just came out like this week or last week, so I might try it and continue it. I don't know. It's up for a debate, but I might give it a shot. I don't know yet. I don't know. So let's move on to our next roll. I think I lost count. This might be like the 3rd. Is this the 3rd roll? So let me roll it now and see what we get. Okay, it's roll number 3 time. Let's see which one I get this time. 7 and 8 will not count. A 5. Nice. All right, so for this one, unfortunately, I was supposed to be reading Breaking Legacies, but it's not on Kindle Unlimited, it's not in my library, it's not anywhere I can afford to get it because I can't afford anything right now. So unfortunately, I can't not get Breaking Legacies, which is so unfortunate because this was like the only sapphic one I had on my list. And I should have checked beforehand if I had it before going into it. and I can't access it. So I really can't get it, which is really, really sad. So I decided to just remove that one and bump it down. And the next on the list was going to be Fork of the Witch and the Worm by Christopher Paolini. This is a side book or like side story collection following the inheritance cycle. So this one's gonna be really, really easy to read. I think it's like under 300 pages. Yeah, it's 278 pages or 281 pages. And this one, very big fonts, very small pages, very easy to get through. This is also determining my dragon's gender, and I already looked at it, and it was like a gender reveal on in my Discord because I didn't know how many pages were in this, and it's 281, so it's an odd number of pages, so my dragon's going to be a male dragon, which I kind of hoped for anyway. It kind of fits my character's personality a bit more. I should be able to finish this in like 2 to 3 days max, so let me go and read this. Oh shoot, I forgot the book. It's over there. All right, so I finished The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I liked it. I liked it a lot. There are obviously some stories I like more than others, but it does follow a lot of the events that happened in the original Inheritance Cycle 4-book series. It's funny because the next book, Murtagh, is actually following one of the stories in this book, because Murtagh actually has a part in this book that literally stems into the next book in the series, which I find really cool because obviously that wasn't even announced until like, I think it was like this or last year that even Murtagh was even announced. And so this was kind of like a hint toward a new book, and that was Murtagh. So I find that really cool that this kind of sets up the Murtagh book. So it's kind of cool that I got to read this because now I kind of like am ready to know what's going to happen next, because Murtagh's chapter, in my opinion, was really cool. It's probably one of my favorites. There was like some new stories in this that kind of gave them some lore from the actual history of the Inheritance Cycle and the dragons. And then there's also just like some side characters we haven't really talked much about. And yeah, it was fun. It was a fun time. I think Christopher Paolini's sister also has like a part in this. The character that's literally named after her, Angela, she gets to write a part of it as well with him. So that was really cool to read. All right, so now I'm gonna roll for the 4th book. I'm actually getting through these pretty quickly. It's only like, it's not even halfway through the month and I'm already like on my 4th book, which is really fun. So let's see what the next one's going to be for my dragon books. I'm going to be reducing the books as I go because I have less books to read. So I think I'm going to be rolling a 1d6 now. So let's go and do that now. So I actually have a d6 now instead of a d8 because we only have 5 books left on the list. I had to add one because I was getting low. So it's only the 9th and I'm like 3 books in. So that's kind of fun. So I'm going to be rolling for my 4th book. So let's see what that will be. 5 will not count because the 5th one I already did. So let's see. Okay, reroll. 6. Right, so I rolled a 6 and this one's going to be a book that I just recently added. I wanted to add a book because I removed one already. This choice was actually one that was free on my Kindle, so I decided to download it, and because it has like a dragon element to it, romantasy, paranormal kind of thing, I decided to add it to my list. This is The Lost Siren by Raven Storm. This one I don't really know anything about. The only thing I really know about it is that the main character is in this like breeding manor, which is very messed up because obviously this is against people's wills, that they are being used to procreate, which is disgusting to say the least. And then someone comes and takes her away and saves her, and then there's like this type of game that happens, like at the Draken games or something like that. I don't really know much about it other than that. Like literally all I really know is like the very basic premise. I just got it because it was free, and I like to go into my books blind. So whatever happens will happen, and I'm going to go and read it and see if I like it. This has a very low rating. I think it has like a 3.2 maybe. I usually don't like books that are lowly rated on Goodreads, so fingers crossed, maybe I'll like it. I don't know. I'm hesitant, but I'm gonna try my best. It's only been a few hours, but I'm back, which is probably not a good sign, is it? No, it's not a good sign at all. So I started with The Lost Siren. I got maybe 50% of the way through it, so I actually read a decent amount of it. It's pretty short, so it wasn't that difficult to do. But I decided to DNF it, and the reasons might be a little bit petty. I'm sorry, but it's a little bit petty for me. So the book starts off with a protagonist who is in a breeding manor. Literally, there's women around her being forced to have children, which is disgusting, to say the least. She is the lucky one. I use that loosely. This doesn't happen to her, it's only happening to the women around her. She instead is like the person that kind of upkeeps everything, so she'll clean everything and kind of just take care of the manor itself. So she is a virgin, of course. I kind of hate the trope of like the protagonist being a virgin. It kind of feels, the way that it's used is gross to me. Nothing wrong with being one or not being one. It's just like the way that it's used sometimes in romantasy or like in romance, it's just icky. And this felt icky to me because it felt like she was like the only one that was pure and the only virgin in this area. I don't know. It just feels a little bit gross in this situation, but whatever. Alas, it doesn't really matter, I guess. This handsome man appears and decides to take her with him. And first she's hesitant, but then she thinks, well, nothing could be worse than here. So she goes with him. And I mean, I don't really know if she was right because technically she goes from one situation to the next. and it's like the same thing almost. So she gets taken to this place with drakens, so it's D-R-A-K-E-N, so they're not dragons, it's like draconic people. It's like a half shift. It's not like a full dragon, it's like a draconic type of being. But they go under the mountain, and it's where like all these male draconic men are, and it's just like hundreds of draken men. And tells her, yeah, we haven't had a female draken in like generations, because as they went to war, all the men went to war, the enemy actually went to their homeland and killed every single female there, and so that means that there's no women left for them to have, you know, offspring with. And so now they're under the mountain, they're like cursed, so they can't really age until they find their mate, and so they're just like constantly here forever until they can find someone. He brings her under the mountain essentially to have all the draken fight together and like play these games and the competition, and whoever wins the competition gets to like bed her at night. And essentially what this whole thing is about is that like whoever wins gets to sleep with her and potentially have a child with her, because they need to like continue the race. And pretty much what happened in the original story of her being in that manor in the beginning of the book is not very different from what's happening now. Instead, it's actually almost worse, because now she is the person that has to be, you know, impregnated, and it feels very creepy in a sense, because like she doesn't consent to this really. She kind of has to, you know, agree with it. The people actually end up winning the competition, of course, the ones that she likes anyway, so it becomes like a polyamorous relationship. I didn't even know there was polyamory in this. I had no idea. Just, I guess, fate, because I really love why I choose books, so I guess it was just fate. It just felt like a little bit icky. And then the main character, Benedict, I call him Egg Benedict because I don't like him at all, so I just call him that. And he's the main character. He's the one that took her away from the manor to begin with. And then like he's just kind of rude. Like he's one of those like rude, standoffish male characters that's supposed to be attractive, but to me he's not attractive at all. He called her like a breeding cow because they're trying to like use her for that. And I'm like, you're nasty. Like, you literally saved her from this environment, and now you're putting her into the same environment, essentially. And it's gross. And like, he has a uncle or something that like tries to assault her multiple times, and he's just like, back off. I'm like, that's all you're gonna say? You're not gonna reprimand him for literally like trying to force himself on her? Like, a lot of these men are like repressed, obviously, and you think this is okay for her to be in this environment? You're stupid. You're stupid. There's two other guys that were really sweet, so I think it's like I think there's 3 men in this, but the other 2 guys were really nice. I really liked them, but I don't like Benedict. He ruined it for me. The reason why I DNF'd this, the petty reason why I DNF'd this, wasn't because of that. Like, I kind of was interested in the idea. I wanted to see what was gonna happen, but I was petty, and I stopped reading when it was the first like steamy scene, and let me tell you why. Essentially what happens is that the 2 nice guys are in the room with her, and they're about to be together, you know, doing things together for the first time. It's her first time ever, so, you know, it's a big step, right? Benedict is right outside the room, and he hears what's happening. He literally, like, Kool-Aid Man, throws himself into the room, smashing himself against the door to get into the room, and he gets kind of, like, possessive over her, and he's like, she's mine first. I get to have her. And he, like, just strips down and just, like, plunges in. And then literally within one paragraph, we get a very undetailed scene of him pushing in and then finishing in 1 paragraph. Listen, I know you don't have to have smut in your books. You don't have to have, you know, spicy, steamy scenes, but my goodness, if you're gonna have spicy, steamy scenes, don't write them with such low detail and with 1 paragraph. That guy lasted 3 seconds, and that's kind of a compliment, but at the same time, it's not very attractive considering the fact that he's supposed to be like this alpha male, rar kind of person, and I don't know. That was literally what the straw that broke the camel's back for me. The fact that he lasted like 5 seconds, and the fact that it just was anticlimactic. The fact that she was a virgin and he just like slammed, and then he just like finished, and it was like, oh wow, what a great first time for her. I bet you she was very happy. Yeah. Long story short, not my thing. Not my thing. Sorry, I'm talking a lot about this book in particular, but just not for me. It's not for me. I think there were some interesting topics, interesting concepts, but not for me. I'm gonna move on to my next book. I'm gonna be rolling for my 5th book, I think this is. I don't even know anymore. I'm gonna be rolling for my 5th book. I think I only have maybe like 4 options, so I'm gonna be rolling a 1d4. This might be my last book because I might be moving on to Dragon Slayer and Shadow of the Gods after this, so I'm probably gonna be finishing with my rolls after this, so this might be potentially my final roll. So let's do our final roll and see which one this is gonna be. I'm going to be using a 1d4 because there's only 4 options left. So let's roll a 1d4, see which one of the 4 I get. And I'm going to be doing it sideways because it's really hard to see from above because it's like a pyramid shape. So we're going to be doing it sideways. So let's see what it's going to be. Oh, it's still hard to see, of course. 4. All right, so for my final roll, I got Dragon's Gift by Jada Storm. This one is the one I've been like really wanting to try, but I'm a little bit hesitant about. I think it has maybe a 3.7 or 3.8 rating on Goodreads, which is a little bit low for a romance novel, especially one on Kindle. Usually Kindle Unlimited books are usually rated really high, so if there's a low rating, not a really good thing to see that. This is about the heroine who is working at, I don't know, like a tavern or something. She's like a waitress. She, you know, is like poor and she doesn't have much money. And then someone shows up and says that she may become the Dragon's Gift. This is actually very similar to the last book in a sense of the word, actually. But the Dragon's Gift is the person that has been decided by the gods, the dragon gods or whatever, to be the next person that is going to give birth to the next heir. Essentially what she's there for is to have kids and have babies with the prince. It's similar to the last book, female dragons are infertile now, and so they have to find other means in order to have kids, and so they have the Dragon's Gift, which is a person that was decided by the gods to take on this role of having their kids, which I feel like is really weird and messed up. Obviously, it's kind of messed up, but here we are. So as she goes to the castle and has this bestowed upon her, and she is lavished in all these things, she has to choose between 3 people. And I didn't know about this until literally a few seconds ago. And I'm a little bit nervous, I'll be honest with you, but these 3 characters, the whole polyamorous thing, is between 3 brothers. For some dumb reason, I thought all the princes were from other kingdoms. I don't know why I thought that. I was like, oh yeah, they're princes. They're probably like from different kingdoms and they're trying to find the Dragon's Gift together. Yeah, it makes sense. No, they are triplets. They're brothers and triplets. I'm nervous. This can go into many directions. I am not against it as long as they don't like interact too much. Like as long as swords don't cross, as long as hands stay to themselves, unless it's a heroine, obviously, like I'm okay with it. Just boundaries, okay, brothers, boundaries. So I'm gonna give this a shot. I'm gonna hope that nothing weird happens with it, but I'm still looking forward to this. This one, I'm interested in this one a lot. I really like the covers of them. Like I said, the armor is not practical. It's very impractical, but I kind of like, it's a vibe. You know, it looks good. I'm gonna go read The Dragon's Gift now and I will get back to you when I'm done. And this might be the last one in the video. So let's see if this finishes off strong or not. I swear. These are all have been like romance. I don't know what's going on. I had a few other ones that were not romance heavy, but here we are. Okay, here we are. I am currently reading Shadow of the Gods. It is incredible. It is so good. It's like an epic high fantasy book. It's been very nice to be reading like an actual like fantasy heavy book as opposed to just romance books, because romance books and heavy adult fantasy books are so different from one another. It's insane, the different writing styles and the amount of depth. Oh, it's so good. It's amazing. So I'm gonna go read that soon alongside Dragon's Gift. So with that, let's finish the final book for this video. All right, so I finished my last book yesterday. I read The Dragon's Gift by Jada Storm. I finished it, like I said, yesterday, and I liked it. Okay, I liked it. The thing is, I feel like it technically isn't the strongest book ever. Definitely not the strongest book ever, but I really liked it. I had a fun time with it. We're following the protagonist, and she ends up, obviously, like I said, going to this castle, and she has to kind of like decide between the 3 men, and obviously we know it's a polyamorous relationship, so she's not choosing any of them, and she kind of like spends time with them individually to kind of determine who she likes most, and obviously she likes them all. But I definitely have favorites. Definitely like some more than others of the 3 guys. Luckily, the brothers, for the time being at least, I haven't read the rest of the books. There's like 3 of them. I can't say anything about the rest of the books, but the first book, they do not interact at all, like at all, thankfully. So there's no interaction between the men. They all, for the first book, are independent with her, which is nice. I'm a little bit scared about the second and third book, but so far, so good. But Lucien is definitely my favorite. He's the redhead of the group. He's like the playful, flirty player kind of character, and I love him so much. Like, I love redheads in books. I mean, my boyfriend has red hair, so I guess it makes kind of sense. I like it too, but it's very rare to see redheads as like the male love interest. The only other book I think I saw that in was Serpent and Dove, and I think his name was Reed. I think that's the only ever time I've seen like a redheaded male character as a love interest, and I love Lucien so much. The oldest of the triplets is like the dark-haired, broody, serious one. He's fine. I think he's a little bit like boring. I think he's a little bit stereotypical. I obviously love my black-haired, you know, male characters, but he was kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. He's a little bit boring. And then we have the last character. I had a hard time with him because he has like long blonde hair, and blonde hair for me is a little bit iffy, and then like long hair on a guy for me is iffy. And so it was hard for me to like him, but he was like the compassionate, very kind one. So I still liked him. He's like the golden retriever of the group. Don't love the golden retrievers. I'm sorry, give me like the dark bad boys, but still, I really liked him. There's some aspects in it that were a little bit of content warnings. The king does try to assault her, unfortunately, so there are things that happen in this that might be a little darker, But for the most part, it was just like a fun time. I don't think it was really, really well done. I don't think it was very strong, but like the smut was good. Like in my opinion, the smut was pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty entertaining for me. And I am looking forward to the group scene. I'm just scared. Like I'm very nervous. I think I gave this like a 3.5, maybe around 3.5, if not a 4, but I'm pretty sure 3.5 kind of matches it a bit more. It's just like, it was really enjoyable. I think it was fun, but I don't think it was like the best literature in the world. It's more just like a fun read. But yeah, that was my 5 books. It's only the 15th of the month, so I'm only halfway through the month and I have finished 5 books, which is really good. And all these were on Kindle Unlimited. Most of them were under 300 pages. Very easy for me to get through. The only reason why I got through them so fast is because they were all under 300 pages. I usually don't read books this fast. The books that are left for the month are gonna be a lot longer, so it's gonna take me a lot longer to finish those books. I'm probably not gonna read more than like 2 or 3 more books this month because Shadow of the Gods is taking me forever. Like epic high fantasies take me so long to read, but I am really enjoying it so far. I think I'm like around 100-page mark and it's like so amazingly done. I am loving it so much. It's nice to be reading like a high epic fantasy alongside of easy to read junk food, like great fun time. I mean, this wasn't really a fail because I feel like I've enjoyed some of the books I read. I mean, I had fun, that's what matters. I mean, they were very interesting books, I'll say that for sure. I opened my eyes to a lot of things I've never thought of before, but for the most part, it was a good time. It was a fun time. A lot of romance, paranormal fantasy romance. I guess I can't really complain too much. I kind of asked for it, didn't I? So now I'm going to conclude the video. Thank you so much if you've been here and that you've been watching this video. It has been fun rolling the dice and determining what books I was going to be reading. I have almost hit 500 subscribers. I think by the time I post this video, I might be almost, if not already have met it. If you I don't even know what to say. I want to thank everyone that has been kind of showing my readathon video, that have been sharing things about me. Just like, thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much. You're all amazing. I don't think people realize how much booktube means to a lot of creators. Like, I don't make money off of this. And even if I were to make $2, like, I don't really think my end goal is to make money off of YouTube. I don't really care about the money, and I love interacting with my community and the people on here. And so the fact that I'm able to do that with you all, thank you. The fact that I've almost reached 500 subscribers, just thank you. And I just appreciate everyone for being amazing and supportive of me. So just thank you so much for being here. I have nothing really else to say because I don't want to ramble too much. I've already done it enough, and I don't want to be sappy because I'm always sappy. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you so much. Just thank you. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great reading month, and I hope to see you all soon. Goodbye, everyone.